Hello Epic 7, and welcome to day number 9 of Ancient Inheritance. This video will feature footage from day number 8 as well as day number 9, and I really want to drive home the point of we are running out of time. The new layout of the map is not friendly for being able to complete this at a quick pace. A lot of guilds are lagging behind, and with only 5 days left in Ancient Inheritance, I'm worried several of us aren't going to be able to kill the priest even the first time. So to help facilitate that, this video is going to focus on how to clear floor 4 as quickly as possible. First, let's talk about the mini bosses. Each mini boss should be able to be killed by one player. This lets you clear through the mini bosses as quickly as possible and allow the rest of the guild to save and conserve provisions to drive further into the floor. The first mini boss you'll come across is a Banshee. To beat the Banshee, you need somebody on your team who has level 14 warriors to take Fire Ravi. That's all, just Fire Ravi at level 14. This is important. Fire Ravi needs to be on a speed set. If she doesn't have a speed set, her cycling may not be enough to keep up with getting ahead of the healing. She'll want to be on Sigurd's Scythe and ideally pen set for additional damage. If you run this unit, you'll be able to full clear. Here's some footage of Moriyaism showing this done. Link to his full video will be in the description.
Can you endure?
The next boss on the way is a Golem. The Golem was covered in my last video, but here's the unit again. You want to use Roy, and even if you didn't specialize in mages, level 4 or 5 Roy would work just fine. Make sure he's on the Chatty artifact, and make sure you've got about an hour to kill because it will take a long time. But it is full auto, so set it and forget it and clear it for the rest of your guild. A bookmarked link to this video will also be in the description. The third mini boss on the way is a Pherus. The tech for this fight is you want to run ML Ken with 200% effect resistance. You get this at level 15, you should have it at level 14, but if you don't, just stick Christie on the team to give him the rest of the effect resistance needed. I didn't get a chance to fight the Pherus, but I'll have a video out on that tomorrow likely. So once again, here's a video from Moriyaism showing this comp. His complete video will be linked in the description. The third and final mini boss on the way to the priest is the Scorpetra. Now, Bread and the crew helped me put together this team, and I think you'll like it. It is also a full clear team, so just one person needs to do this. This team is detailed later in the video if you need the stats, but basically it's a triple HP set G Purgus. You need the triple HP set to get his health above Alencia's, and then I put Alencia and Chloe on rage sets just to give him extra damage. Blaze Dingo is on Celestine and a speed set because you want him to cycle. You can switch up EEs to optimize damage and defense breaks, but that team worked really well and allowed me to full clear the Scorpetra for my guild. Last are the Wardens. Unfortunately, I don't have any solo clear teams for Wardens, but a combination of Conqueror Lilius, Camilla on, especially if you can get Camilla on Benimara's artifact, and Mediator Coeric plus a DPS seems to be the way to go. For the Blind Eye Lich, the Dark Warden, I recommend using Little Queen Charlotte. That gave me incredibly high scores. For the Fire Warden, I recommend Luna. For the Earth Warden, I recommend Ken. And for the Water Warden, I recommend Euphine or Lilibet. Lilibet's just a little bit better. Now this is from day number 8, and day number 8 was just me wandering around, picking up some loot, getting some relics, and general leveling. I didn't make a video out of this because it seemed pretty boring. Grabbed a bronze ring from the relic shrine to give me a little more EXP when I use items. I went up here to grab this Soul Weaver statue to get my Soul Weavers within range of being max level. Ironically, I get a Soul Weaver relic tomorrow and, well, later in this video, and kind of make that side trip useless. I was really close to next level, so before I hit the priest statue, I went ahead and did a normal fight. I just took 2 units I knew I wouldn't use anywhere else to speed through it. And that is kind of important. You want to check your experience points before you grab a statue, because doing this one fight, it didn't cost me a lot of provisions, and it pushed me up a level, which let me organically raise my weavers up through class enhancement points, and then I was able to grab the statues. Just a more efficient way to use statues. The big takeaway from this is I had 70 provisions when this day started, and I'm already down to 24 provisions. Oh, Lord, it's making me do another fight. Is it just me, or are scrolls terrible this season? I've never gotten such a run of relatively useless scrolls before. Anyway, when that fight is done, I'm sitting at the Warden. I barely had any provisions left, so I waited for the guild to clear the Warden, and woke up in the morning, and now I'm on day 9 officially with 85 provisions. So the theme of this video is efficient use of provisions. What I am doing, and what I kind of recommend everyone else start doing if you're not already as deep into this as we are, start not picking up chests. Maybe even dodge scrolls. Start making a beeline for the priest. Get the priest open and kill it. There's a teleport right beside the priest. You can use that teleport to easily go back to all the different points on the map and collect chests and loot later, but you don't want to miss out on the first priest kill. So if you're lagging a little bit behind, guild leaders, you may want to recommend to the rest of your guild to turn loot goblin mode off and start going around and killing these mini bosses, killing these wardens, so that you can access the priest and complete Ancient Inheritance. Then spend the last couple days of the event, Saturday and Sunday, getting your loot on. Nice food supply. Really feeling the extra value of food supplies at this point. This map is so huge. I'm actually going to grab the mage statue because I'm going to use some mages. After leveling Roy to 5, I figured why not. So before I use the statue though, let's make sure he's maxed out on class enhancements. I'm relying on finding a relic to get my Soul Weavers to 15. If not, I will live with level 14 Soul Weavers. That's enough to take me to the end. Warriors are already maxed out, so I got nowhere else to put these, so I'm going to go ahead and make mages be my secondary class. One more trial and a scroll. It's making me do another fight. Yeah, scrolls are terrible, guys. Maybe you have better luck with them, but they have just not been good to me this season. I looked ahead at the monsters I had to fight, and Luna and Amelia aren't going to be needed for any of those fights, so I used them to clear this fight pretty quickly. And this is the bridge where the Pherus was, but a guild member took care of the Pherus for me, so I'll put the Pherus video tomorrow. I'm going to slide down there and see if I can get at that Warden. But rather than make a beeline for it, I'm going to go up here and grab this tent to give me enough provisions to go over and get the relic. I spent some time counting the spaces on the map to make sure I'd have enough to do what I wanted to do today, and as long as I level up, I'll be fine. And I'm pretty close to leveling up. I guess my mages are going to be even stronger. Okay, so this is the fundamentals of a Warden fight. You are going to kind of use the same units for Warden fights. If you don't have these units, that's okay. I would recommend maybe letting other people in your guild hit it, because with these units you should be able to kill the Warden in probably 2 passes. So Conqueror Lilius, ideally. Mediator Queric, ideally. Either one of those could be swapped for a healer or Kitty Clarissa. Your DPS unit, since it's a dark unit, I'm going to use Little Queen Charlotte and, of course, Camilla, ideally on Benimaru's Artifact. Camilla on Benimaru's Artifact is kind of a must for this. For the Dark Lich, I'm using Little Queen Charlotte. Judge Kisei would also work. For the Fire Lich, you can use Luna or Sigrid. For the Green Lich, you can use, well, really, you should just use Fire Ken. He's absolutely the best, but you could use Fire Sirmia. And for the Water Lich, you should use Euphine or Lilibet. I think Lilibet's just slightly better. Now remember, in the Warden fight, all units are sealed, so you can't use units with passives. For example, Alencia would be absolutely terrible in this. For the Elemental fights, any unit that is not the opposite element, it suffers minus 15% on speed, attack, and defense, so just You want to make sure your DPS is, of course, the opposing element. For the Blind Eye Lich, though, it's just any ML unit is not affected. All RGB units suffer the minus 15%. Now, one of the main reasons I decided to go with Little Queen Charlotte is she heals a little bit on her S3, and if you soul burn it, it's an extra turn. So she spams quite a bit of damage. I mean, that's a 128k, and there wasn't even a defense breakup. Soul burning because I really want that defense break, and that's another 145k damage. So this is a great team. Now, you probably are noticing I'm not running a Soul Weaver, and that's because the damage starts to scale up so fast, a Soul Weaver is going to have trouble keeping ahead of it. Mediator Quirk's barriers, and to a lesser extent, Conqueror Lilius's barriers, that is my healing. I'm going to use barriers to try to tank some of this damage. But really, by the time you start really needing a healer, the Lich is one-shotting your units. So I do recommend a full complement of DPS units. That takes care of the Lich and frees the way to the final mini-boss, which is Scorpetra. Now, I was actually just a little bit short on provisions, but, ooh, Priest Charm. That makes my Priests plus 15 now, too. As I was saying, I was just a little bit short on provisions, but I discovered that I would level up on the way there, which gave me 7 more provisions. Let me top off my mages a little bit, and now I have just enough provisions to get to Scorpetra. I'm going to have to backtrack and get some chests to be able to buy out the shop. I've got enough currency to get the important stuff, but there's a couple other things like the mod boxes I'd like to get. Now for the Scorpetra team, as I mentioned before, this appears to be the best solo clear team we've found to date. Blaze Dingo, you want to have him on Celestine. That'll make sure he heals well enough. Blaze Dingo also has defense breaks on his S2, and his S3 is an attack buff. I put Maid Chloe on a rage set. Magic Nail will make sure rage set always procs. That's why I also put a rage set and Jacko's symbol on Alencia. I just tried to stack as much damage as I could. Now, G-Purg is the important one. You need to make sure G-Purg is the highest HP unit on the team. I had to put him on a triple HP set with Proof of Valor to get his 34k health above Alencia, who had 32k health. If G-Purg's not the highest HP unit on your team, this will fail big time. And that's because as an ultimate, Scorpetra will always use the Scorpetra's Curse skill on the highest HP unit on the team. So you need to make sure the highest HP unit on the team is not the one doing damage. Now, that curse will remain until you've done multiple attacks. I think it's 5. But we got 2 out of Blaze Dingo. There's 3 from Chloe. Here is 4 from Alencia, and her trample counts as a 5th hit. And you can see G-Purg has lost the Scorpetra's curse because 5 attacks have happened. And that allows him to take a turn and attack buff. Not that big of a deal if your G-Purg never takes a turn. What's important is that you make sure that when Scorpetra does her ultimate again, it goes into G-Purg. Now check out this damage on Chloe here. 100k damage, and that's without a defense break. It's not a big deal, but I'll go ahead and put an attack buff on Alencia. I was worried that Blaze Dingo's healing wouldn't keep up with this, but he did really, really good on this. Having him on a speed set helped him cycle, and the Celestine made his heals very strong. You can always burn his S3 into his S2 for extra rounds of healing. His S3 heals, then his S2 heals, then he gets an extra attack with his S1 and that heals. So he keeps the party pretty healthy. I've seen a lot of people do this with APOC Ravi, but I gotta tell you, Bread's idea to use General Purgus on this was choice. There are other ways to do this fight, other options that you can run in place of Alencia and Chloe. Moriyaism recommended running Jacko and Amelia, which sounds like it would work really well, combined with G-Purg and Blaze Dingo. Now, I know my warriors are level 15, and so are my soul weavers. I haven't tested this team with level 14 weavers or warriors, but it felt really stable and secure. So I think ideally assign somebody who's got level 15 warriors and weavers to this fight, but if not, level 14 should work, and that gives you a full clear. That takes me all the way through that fight all by myself, and that's the goal, is efficiency. Clearing these mini bosses with just one person, 2 people maximum, so that the rest of the guild can progress forward. You don't want to have 20 people hitting the same boss. You don't want to have one person hitting the boss 6 times. Just assign people to do it, blaze right through it, and you'll be ready to move on. We'll kill this warden probably later this afternoon and open up the priest, and then tomorrow morning we'll all be able to converge on the priest and get our first priest kill in. There are mini bosses on the priest island. I strongly recommend you assign one person who's got the units to do it to take out those mini bosses. At best 2 people, 1 for each mini boss, and let everyone else focus on killing the priest. Once the priest is down, split up, go get your loot on. Once you bought out the shop, everybody can return to the middle island and maybe kill the priest 2 or 3 more times. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope your guild is able to catch up as fast as ours was. I was a little bit worried earlier, but now we're knocking on the door of the priest, and I think we're going to be fine. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments section. If you need assistance or help with your ancient inheritance, join my Discord. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great one, everybody.